Hey guys, welcome to formerly known as Ron's Reactions. Now we're Fantasy Effects. This is episode 33. It's going to be a price check. We're brought to you by Fantasy Football Infinity. We're a proud partner of DynastyDaddy.com, and our big daddies are Dynasty Theory. Say hello to the people, McSpanky and Holler.
The big daddies, huh?
Yeah.
What's up, everybody? Happy to be here.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but hey, hopefully we'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll get there. So there are big daddies.
Yeah.
They can all be my dad.
Can have as many daddies as you want.
Yes. Finally.
Doing well. I got my Marvin Mims signed jersey. I need to hang it up.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
What color jersey? Did you get one of the orange ones? Or
It's the orange one, yeah.
Nice.
Cool. I like the orange.
I hate the Broncos, but I really do love those jerseys. The orange is sick.
That's part of me what had me get it. The orange is cool. I'm diving into Marvin Mims a little bit more. Got to, back him up. So it was cheap.
Yeah.
It's like $45, I think, or something. So
I should have bought a Amon-Ra one a long time ago.
Yeah,
he would have been too expensive.
Yeah, he would have been cheap too.
Yeah. Well, should we start me up?
Let's do it.
Yes, sir.
All right. So what we got for the start me up this week? A new kind of a not really a game, but I'm going to call it a game. It's called Grade the Trade. So we each have different trades that happened in real leagues that happened I think all these were within the last like 3 or 4 days. And we're going to go through and just kind of give them a grading of how we like it. And Ron, why don't you kick us off?
Well, what I did was I traded Jahan Dotson for a 24 first. Let me pull up the league and kind of give a little bit of context to it. So I checked on Dynasty Daddy, and Dynasty Daddy ranked me as a fraud, which I would actually agree with on that team. It was very much lacking depth. I already had an extra first. I'm not the biggest Jahan Dotson Washington Commanders fan. Anybody catching from Sam Howell to begin with anyway. And then the guy who sent me the offer, I took a look at his team and I see, let me find him here. I see Patrick Mahomes, Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones, Chris Olave. Oh my goodness. Well, then he's got D-Hop. Jahan Dotson is now his wide receiver 3. Waller, Tony Pollard, Khalil Herbert, James Cook, Kirk Cousins. And then on the bench, the highlights are Jordan Love.
Ooh, I don't know about the highlight there.
And that's it.
If that's the highlight, we're off to a bad start.
Yeah,
that's the highlight.
I think there's enough starters there where if they don't get injured, that's probably a playoff team.
Yeah.
Right.
However, if he does have injuries, like that's probably in the pick, I'd say like 5 to 8 range is where I'd slot that in. So I love that dude because I'm not the biggest Dotson believer. I think he had a ton of like crazy touchdown luck last year where he scored way more touchdowns for like how involved he was in the passing game.
I agree.
I don't really trust that offense to begin with. So
yep,
I like it.
Yeah,
I totally agree. I like that. Give me the first there for sure. I know Dotson's got a lot of hype, but I just think bank off that hype right now because I think a couple games in the season you're going to notice that Washington offense is going to be kind of meh. I think there'll be some guys that will be usable fantasy players, but I just think Dotson was like a lot of more hype than, and I think those touchdowns are bringing his hype up a bit.
Yeah,
sure.
I didn't think Dotson was going to help his team any more than what was already there. And I think we already know that Khalil Herbert's kind of on the way out with Roshan. So that's one starter down, just losing snaps. And we all hope James Cook is a thing. We have yet to see that actually come to fruition yet.
Yeah.
And, Aaron Jones is good to miss a few games here or there. And D-Hop pulls a hammy. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, we'll get to it in a minute, but it sounds like Treylon got a little banged up today too. So
He did.
I don't know. D-Hop might be the only guy there. I don't know. That offense.
Yeah. It'll be tough.
He's relying on D-Hop and Derrick Henry, huh? So he's really riding
He likes
the Titans ship there.
Yeah,
That's a little scary.
He's gonna go down with that ship too.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, so I feel like that's really good because definitely that's gonna. I'm pretty sure that'll be a playoff team, but you don't know. Like that could be first round playoff team or whatever. So it just will depend. I think, and so a lot of injuries there could actually bump him out of the playoffs too.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Holler's trade.
What did you do?
Yeah, so this team is kind of on the fringe of barely making the playoffs, but I'm kind of like my team is very young. I have Bryce Young and I think it is Desmond Ridder. So my second QB is not the best, but we'll see what Ridder can do. But I sent away Stafford and Khalil Herbert, and I got back Tank Bigsby, QJ, and a 24-second. I'm pretty sure his team that I'm getting the 24-second is definitely a playoff team. Okay. So that team is probably, pretty firmly in the playoff team. I was looking at it. And so I just think for me, that was a solid trade to get rid of Stafford and then Khalil Herbert. I mean, I'm not a big believer there. I'm more on Roshan, and Khalil Herbert's never going to be like the big running back there out of Chicago, and he's more of like the pass work guy. So he's only going to get you so much. So I felt like it was a very, pretty good trade on my end.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like it a lot. I like trying to get rid of Matthew Stafford. I, for whatever reason, can never get any value for him just because I don't think people. I don't know. They don't buy in anymore or whatever. And then also Khalil Herbert. I think this might be the last year you can get any kind of use out of him. And so you kind of shipped off two declining assets for, Tank Bigsby and Quentin Johnson. I mean, depending on how you feel on those guys, that's awesome. And then even if it's a late 24-second, you get an extra dart throw right at the end of the second round. So that's, I love it.
Especially with my team being young. Like I have really good wide receivers, Jefferson, DJ Moore, Zay Flowers, and so now I have QJ as well. So I have 4 solid receivers, I feel like. And so I also have Mark Andrews. So my team is pretty good. I just need some quarterbacks.
Yeah, I really like it. I think you guys have both already said it, but I mean, selling Stafford for that is huge. I mean, at this point in his career, even me who thinks Stafford's still being disrespected and everything, I'm not giving up Quentin Johnson. I don't even like the guy, but I know, value wise, we're on 2 different trajectory paths here. That's for sure. And I love it, Holler. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a blind, sent to me, and I think it started with the 3rd, and I just counter with the 2nd, and boom, accepted.
Cool.
Love those.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love when you get a nice gift in your inbox.
Yeah.
All right.
What you got, Spanky?
I did one actually just earlier this morning. I got this done. So I shipped off Treylon Burks and Alvin Kamara, and I got Jordan Addison, and then we threw in Joshua Kelly. I don't really care about that piece, but it was fun to throw in. So I mean, maybe if Eckler gets hurt, maybe I will. But the funny thing about this was, so we did this morning, and then not 40 minutes later, Treylon Burks gets carted off, and I was like, oh, damn, that sucks. And then later in the day, Jordan Addison goes on the concussion protocol, and I was like, wow, we just cursed both these dudes.
Yeah.
Yes, you did. Yeah. Leave Jordan Addison out of this, you guys. Jeez Louise. I need him to be healthy. I would like to see him play this year.
That's what I was going to say, too. I have a lot of Jordan Addison, and honestly, I like that a lot. I mean, I'm thinking your team is a younger team.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah. So to get Jordan Addison, I feel like that's really, really good for those 2 guys. Like Kamara, I feel like doesn't have much value. Treylon Burks, obviously, you sent him away before he's injured. And I think his value will not take too much of a dip because it's only I think it was the LCL. So I don't think he's going to be out for too long, maybe a couple of weeks. I don't know if he may miss 1 game. But I think, I think that was a good trade probably on both sides.
Yeah, I think it was pretty even. And I honestly, I told the guy too, I was like, I might counter to try to get something different besides Joshua Kelly. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not going to mess around. I just went Jordan Addison here.
Yeah.
So
sure. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, me too. I'm a big fan of it. Sucks for that guy getting Treylon.
I know. Luckily, though, like it sounded worse than it was. It sounds like
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Well,
I
should we go on to? Oh, go ahead, Holler.
I was just gonna say, I think, like I kind of said before, but I think Treylon will be at worst out for a week or two, and maybe even in the regular season. So I think it'll be fine. I mean, just depends on if you overall like Treylon or not.
Sure. Should we go up and pull another hammy with Jamo coming up limp today?
So, Ron, I know you're the resident, Jamo truther here on the show. Yep. Are you starting to falter there, or are you still holding strong?
I'm still holding strong for Jamo. You'll have to give me another year to really kick him to the curb here. He's got that time to heal himself up. He's got all this time to work with Teddy Bridgewater. I'm really buying into the whole mental aspect of, him working with Teddy, kind of getting some more of the smarts of the game. Apparently Teddy is always there on Saturdays he's got all this stuff that Teddy does for players. He comes in on Saturdays, works with the young receivers. He did this in New Orleans too. Make sure they know what their assignments are, what their routes are, what they're supposed to be doing on each play. Maybe it gets them on the path, and he was doing better in practice from what I've heard. I think a lot of it was overblown the past few weeks on the drops and this, that, the other. I'm still going to believe in Jamo.
He did have that huge, I don't know about huge, but big drop in the preseason game.
Yeah, less than ideal.
Yeah.
But he did then catch a one-handed 2-point conversion with the DB draped all over his back, if anybody wants to see that highlight. So
yeah, I saw that one as well.
So there are good things too.
Yeah. I'm kind of pumping the brakes a little bit with Jamo. I think I have maybe like 6 shares or so. So not a ton of him, but I just feel like there is a little bit of caution there, right? We're starting to see
with some of those shares.
Yeah, well, definitely. There's a little bit of caution there, I feel like. I'm kind of a little bit like in the middle here. I'm kind of a little bit with Ron. Like I want to see a little bit more. But are we going to see any? That's the other thing, So
is there any severity? Is there anything out on the severity of this hamstring pull yet? I don't think so.
I haven't seen
anything. I just that he left practice early. So I mean, if we can, I'm assuming he's going to play in. Probably maybe not play this weekend, but he's going to probably play in a few more preseason games because he'll be out for those 6 games. So if we can start to see something, then I'll be all right. But I'm pumping the brakes a little bit.
I don't know, man. The hamstring's one thing too. Where how many times have you seen a receiver have hamstring issues in the training camp, and then it plagues them all year, right?
Yeah,
they just never quite get healthy, or they come back and then they tweak it again, and they're just and for someone who's very much just reliant on pure speed, like that's not great, right? And that's already concerning. He already has the drop issues. He already has kind of some immaturities that maybe Teddy Bridgewater helps with, right? There's just a lot of red flags there. And then he already missed so many games last year rehabbing from his ACL, and then now he has the gambling suspension. It's like this. He's a young receiver. He needs time to develop. I mean, if you keep getting hurt, like this is like a second injury already in training camp because he got banged up early at the beginning of camp. Like, how is he ever going to develop if he just keeps missing practice time?
Yeah, I get all that. Maybe this helps him do some more of the mental stuff, along the way with the hamstring injury. And, it sucks we're not going to get to see him get to do the work in preseason. But at the same time, he was going to miss 6 games anyway. So if you're going to pull a hammy, why not pull a hammy when you're serving a gambling suspension?
Yeah, my argument to that would be though is he needs to be practicing now, right? He's going to be missing that time. I'm assuming. I don't know if he needs to be away from the team or not during that suspension, but I'm assuming he needs to get those reps now, right? And so if he doesn't need to be away from the team, he'll be still around. But I think he needs to be in those preseason games now, even if it's just the first or second quarter. I still think he needs to be in those games, practicing, getting game reps.
I don't think he has to be away from the team. I think he can still be on the facility. He just can't.
Okay.
He just can't play.
I
don't think. He can't be on the field, right?
Yeah.
But I think he can still practice, and he can be like on the team.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I said before, I'm pumping the brakes a little bit. I think it's never good when young receivers missing time. So we'll see.
No. Holler, send me some Jamo offers tonight. Anyway, so let's go to good injury news. Breece activated off the pup, but then he also comes out and quote says, "There's some things I'm not sure that some cuts my knee can't take yet, or I don't know if they can take it." Is that just him being nervous and he hasn't done it yet? He wants to get into game speed.
So I've never torn my SEO or played professional football. So take this for granted for what it's worth. But from what I've heard from what athletes have said is that even if their knee is 100% physically ready, it takes them a while before they were mentally able to trust their knee. And I think that's all he was saying. I'm not really concerned about it. I think we kind of know that, and that's kind of baked into the injury, right? That's why it's when they come back, it usually takes them an extra 6, 7, 8 weeks until they're back to themselves, because they are trying to build that confidence back in their knee. I mean, look at Saquon when he got hurt. It took him a year before he was able to kind of be the same guy he was. So, but I mean, then they bring in Dalvin Cook, and now I guess he's banged up too, right? He's got
Dalvin's banged up already.
Yeah, he's on the.
He hasn't even been practicing.
I guess he's recovering from a shoulder injury, shoulder surgery he had early in the offseason.
I know he was
having a kid this week, I think.
I know he was banged up a lot last year, and so I wonder if it's just lingering from last year.
Yeah, he dislocates that shoulder every other week.
Yeah.
He pops it back in and keeps playing.
Yeah. Yeah, impressive. He might as well at this point. It can't get any worse.
I think what I'm noticing the most out of the Dalvin Cook news is they gave him a good amount of money.
They gave him a crap ton of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's up to it's up to 8.6 million, but 7 million of that's base pay. That's guaranteed money. That's more than, I mean, double check me if I'm wrong here, but I think that was more than Miles Sanders got. That was that's good money.
Yeah.
They brought him in to use him. Yeah. Which is a little concerning. I think it really it hampers both him and Breece Hall. They don't really have the same upside that they both would have. I think whoever gets the lion's share of the carries and the touches is going to be kind of a back end RB2, and the other one will be more of an RB3. The way I have it is I have Breece Hall projected to kind of get the most work, but with Dalvin Cook getting a really healthy amount of carries.
Yeah.
Miles
do you think
Sanders? Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, do you think that Breece? I know they haven't said much, but Breece is going to start slow, and Dalvin Cook will take the lion's share in the beginning, and then maybe by the end of the year we'll see a lot more of Breece, and so like you said, they're just going to kind of cancel each other out, and then they're both going to be back end RB2s.
That would make sense. I know. I guess it depends on how quickly Dalvin Cook can pick up the offense, because he is brand new to it, right? So I don't know. If he's not, he doesn't know the pass pro protections and stuff, they're not going to want to get Rodgers killed back there. So
sounds like he's getting killed anyway. So what's the difference?
Nice.
Yeah, I saw some things.
He's running for his life out there.
There's that ex-Packer hate for you.
Listen. That's not. Those were the tweets today. I just bring you the news, and it was super happy. I was so happy to read that. Total guaranteed for Miles Sanders was 18 mil.
How many per year though? Because that was over.
Yeah, so years, that's right? Over. So basically, it breaks down to 4.5 per year.
Okay.
Jeez, that's
wow.
He got good money, man.
Yeah.
So would you say that there's a buy window for Breece Hall?
I think so. I mean, I don't know how. I think people that have him are probably still value him and don't want to sell him for a discount, especially because you got to figure that Dalvin Cook deal. It's a 1-year deal, so this time next year, Breece is that much further removed from injury, and now there's no Dalvin Cook, and now all of a sudden he's right back to being a top 3-4 running back. So I wouldn't sell at a discount.
I was just gonna say
definitely what Wes says here is, how quickly does Dalvin re-injure that shoulder? Because it seems to happen every year for Dalvin. And like you guys just, alluded to, it's a 1-year deal. So he's not there for the long haul. Yeah, and we all know Dalvin's track record. It's usually a few games missed.
Yep. Yeah, so I mean, I would not want to move Breece right now. They're going to want a discount, and I'm not going to want to be selling at a discount because, like you guys just said, I think next year Breece is going to be, top 5.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he should
for sure.
he should stick up there, that's for sure. What about Zeke in New England? What do you guys think? What's it do to Rhamondre?
Not a darn thing.
Yeah.
He didn't get jack in terms of guaranteed money. Like he got $3 million in base pay with up to $6 million in incentives. Like Zeke was bad last year, right? Like he was boosted. He had like 12 rushing touchdowns last year. You know how many touchdowns the Patriots had last year?
12.
12. Yeah.
Wow.
So Zeke, his targets went way down too. Like he was not getting work in the passing game.
Well, it's because Tony Pollard was.
He went from 63 targets down to 23. Like that's way bad. And Rhamondre's a good pass catcher too. So I think Rhamondre is still going to be on the field and getting like the targets and the high value touches. Yeah, Zeke probably gets some goal line carries, but honestly, Rhamondre only had 5 rushing touchdowns last year. Like if that takes a bit of a hit, like that's not how he necessarily gets his points. He gets them from a lot of receptions and yardage. So I think it's a lot overblown. And Zeke, I mean, did you guys see the video of him today? He looks
chubby,
like he borrowed James Harden's fat suit. Like he's a little hefty.
Yeah,
he always shows up hefty, man.
I kind of agree with Wes a little bit. It wouldn't surprise me if Bill Belichick decided to run Zeke at the goal line, which is, I mean, it would take away from Rhamondre's touchdowns, but it's not. I don't think Zeke's taken away from Rhamondre's yards. And so if you're, if I think when you're drafting Rhamondre or you're trading for Rhamondre, you're trading for those yards versus the touchdowns.
Sure. All right.
And BOB's in town, so go ahead.
Yeah, that should be a little bit of a different offense altogether, I think.
Yeah, you should trade for Mac Jones.
You should not.
That's for Holler.
Should definitely.
No, thank you.
All right, Dynasty price checker.
Yeah, so let's get some of our cover thumbnail athletes out of the way because last week we kind of missed on those. So let's start with Skyy Moore.
Daniel for 2 seconds. Yes.
Let's start with Skyy Moore. Right now he's wide receiver 42 on KeepTradeCut, 44 on FantasyCalc. He's 39 in both Ron and I's rankings. So what are we thinking here, guys? What are we making Skyy Moore? Are we trying to buy? Are we trying to sell? Are we holding? What are we doing with Skyy?
I am not gonna buy. I would like to buy Skyy Moore, but I think that the hype has gotten such that people are going to start wanting to see late first for him if they're going to part with him.
Wow.
If you're going to part with him, I mean, honestly, that's what you're going to have to give. Like early second is give me Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball to this guy over an early second at this moment in time.
What are you willing to pay for him? Let me put it that way.
Let me see here.
I would probably pay an early second, but if I have an early second, my team's not that good, and so I don't think I want Skyy Moore. Is the issue?
Yeah. Well, what if you have someone else's second and you think that's going to be early?
I'll send it.
I would send it as well. I mean, but my issue with the receivers in Kansas City is they kind of spread the ball around, right? There's never going to be, since Tyreek's Tyreek, but even with him, they still spread the ball around a bit. He got most of his yards and his points from yards after the catch, right? Sure. And so obviously those wide receivers are not Tyreek Hill, and so they're not going to get that same yak.
So here's my thought on this. I think we were super hyped on him last year, right? He definitely had the hype because they're like, oh my God, like a wide receiver is going to go play with Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
But I was kind of digging on some numbers here. So rookie wide receivers in Andy Reid's offense, I just kind of highlighted some of the ones who were drafted either in the top like 3 rounds and I included Tyreek Hill, even though he was a 5th round pick because he's Tyreek Hill. Tyreek got his rookie season. He got 61 catches, 593 yards, 6 touchdowns. McCole Hardman, it was a 2nd round pick. He got 26 receptions, 538 and 6. And then Skyy last year was 22, 250 and 0. So obviously his numbers were bad. Those were just in the regular season. He picked it up in the postseason a little bit.
Yeah.
Obviously, like those numbers aren't great, but the jump that Tyreek Hill made from his first year to every other year, like he made massive strides. And that's the thing. It's like Skyy Moore, I think this offense isn't necessarily friendly to rookie wide receivers. And I think Skyy Moore is going to take a bigger leap. I mean, he had during the playoff run, I don't have the exact numbers, but he was used quite a bit in the red zone, especially. And I think they're going to scheme him, and he might get a sneaky amount of touchdowns in that offense.
Yeah. And, Juju is gone, and I'm doing the math right now, unless somebody can just bring it up for me on how many targets Juju had last year.
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
But somebody has got to take those targets. Kelsey can't do all of it.
Yep.
Kelsey is getting older. So at this point, I think that, somebody else needs to step up into this offense. And maybe it is, a distribution, and you're not totally happy every single week by it. But I think some weeks you're going to be very happy that Skyy Moore is sitting in your lineup, to be honest.
Juju had 97 targets last year, just during the regular season.
Right.
Wow. So that's
you missed the game here.
And it's like, okay, so I don't think Rashee Rice is going to be like a superstar, at least not year one.
Yeah. Right.
Kadarius Toney can't stay on the field.
No.
Justin Ross, whatever. He might not even make the 53.
Listen, we're praying.
MVS, I mean, MVS is what he is, right? He's gonna take some deep shots. He's not. Yeah. Like if there's gonna be a receiver that steps up in this offense, I think it's gonna be Skyy Moore.
Yeah,
Skyy Moore, Richie James, baby. Those are my bets.
I mean, Richie James, whatever, but
and I think
somebody's got to do it.
And I think with like his price right now is kind of what Ron said in the beginning is I don't think many people are going to move off of him unless you're getting a late first for him because of that hype and because of, I think there's not many other, like if I wanted to pick a receiver out of that group, I think almost every time I'd pick Skyy because we're seeing off of those rookie wide receivers, Rashee Rice is not going to be the guy. I think maybe he'll have a bit of a better year than Skyy did last year, but it takes time for them in Andy Reid offense. So I think after looking at all those wide receivers and hearing about, thinking about it a little bit more, I think if I'm picking a wide receiver there, even though it may be spread around, I still would, at the end of the day, I want Skyy Moore.
Yeah.
Okay.
His trades are all over the place. I was just kind of pulling them up on DLF right now. Like there's one, it was Deshaun Watson and Skyy Moore for Aaron Jones and Devontae Smith. There was a Skyy Moore and a 24 third for Antonio Gibson and Jamal Williams. There was a Skyy Moore straight up for Isaiah Spiller. Like,
whoa,
dude!
When was that one?
That one happened.
August 14th, so Monday
of this year.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord! What in the hell?
I don't. It was that might have been like Isaiah Spiller's mom or someone that was playing. I don't know.
That's crazy. That's irresponsible.
Wow.
Here,
so
real quick. So I'll list here what I have tiered with Skyy Moore. You guys go ahead and tell me who you're taking. Mingo.
Moore.
Skyy Moore.
Christian
that one's
Watson.
up in the air for me.
You have Christian Watson that low?
Yeah.
Good God. Yeah, give me Christian Watson.
Christian Watson.
Jahan Dotson.
Oh my God, dude. What? Dotson. You hate Jahan Dotson, don't you? Give me Skyy Moore.
Skyy Moore.
Keenan Allen.
Give me Skyy Moore.
Christian Kirk.
Give me Christian Kirk.
Calvin Ridley.
Ridley, I think, but it's close.
Keenan Allen.
Can we do Burks pre-injury?
Yeah. Treylon Burks.
Burks?
Yeah.
Okay.
For someone like Ridley and Keenan Allen, I think it's, this is not really the game, but it's team dependent for me.
Sure.
I mean,
that's the thing, fair. Right? All the values are team dependent, but just like in a vacuum, I'm kind of buying into Skyy Moore.
Yeah. Especially if some of those
going well for him all camp,
Yeah, and then some of those trades, my goodness.
Yeah, dude, his value's all over.
Yeah.
So maybe just throw some feelers out there. See what you got.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Good luck, guys. Get out there, get you some Skyy Moore. All right. Here's Howler's guy, Mr. Between the 20s. Mr. Brian Robinson.
Be careful. This is not my guy, but this is a guy that
you should see our DMs.
Yeah. Slide on in. But this is a guy that I felt like he was pretty cheap, right? And I was looking at a little bit more, and so I have some stats from last year. So his final 7 games last year, he averaged 19.7 carries with 86 86.2 yards. Okay, that's not amazing, right? And so, but I think there's a trend there, right? He's on his way. He's starting to do a little bit better, right? And he had 205 rush attempts last year, and he had a total of 797 yards, right? And then he has that draft capital, we'll say, because he came in the third round, which is like, that's why I kind of shake my head, but because it's like, and he's a bigger back, right? So that's going to be, I think, with him being a bigger back, he's going to take some of those red zone, goal line carries, we'll call it, right? And then in his last year at Alabama, he had 1,600 yards with 16 touchdowns. And the reason I bring that up is because he's playing against SEC defenses, right? And obviously that offensive line was amazing. That's not your Washington offensive line, right? But he's capable of doing that. Okay. And so a couple other things that I found is last year he had about 14 carries inside the 10. So those are good things. And then he had 7 carries inside the 5. And then he was stopped at the 1 about 4 times, right? So if we take those, maybe that's him, maybe that's not. But if he can make those carries inside the 5 and those not stopped at 1, he would be 4 more touchdowns. Okay. This is just, thinking about it. But and then a couple other things, they bring in Bieniemy. I think overall that's going to help him, right? I think they're going to want to use him in the past. They're going to want to use probably both of those running backs, Gibson and Robinson. And so I just think he's going to get those goal line carries with his, big body. And so in my opinion, I think he can be, if he puts it all together, has a really good year, he could be in that 20 to 24 range, right? Be a low end RB2. And so but in order to do that, he's going to need to catch him a couple balls a game. And I think that is going to be his biggest hurdle. So
I don't disagree with what you're saying entirely. Well, okay. So here's the thing. You said he had 86.2 yards per game. That's great. But in PPR scoring, that's like 8.5 points because he doesn't catch any passes.
Yeah.
He had 12 targets in 12 games. I'm no math wizard, but that's 1 target per game.
Checks
out. Maybe it. Okay, perfect. Ron's math checking me. We're perfect. Maybe Bieniemy gets him a little bit more involved in the passing game, but I think Antonio Gibson is there for that. And he did get those goal line carries. What I will say is Sam Howell is a sneaky goal line runner. Like he's fairly shifty, so he might kind of steal some of those carries as well. And then, do we know if Sam Howell is going to check down to the running backs? Yeah. We know Patrick Mahomes did because he just finds whoever's open and just takes yardage in that offense. But I don't know if Howell will do that or if he'll just kind of take off and try to get a few yards because he's not like overly athletic, but he's sneaky rushing upside, right? So unless he suddenly gets like a boost in passing game work or he gets like a ton of touchdowns, I don't see how he has a path to an RB2 season.
So I'm really out on all the Commanders kind of deal. I think that's a cluster truck. You can fill in the words. Ron Rivera has already thrown Bieniemy under the bus for his coaching style, like publicly. So I think they're setting him up as the fall guy at this point, for a poor offensive performance. And also we've seen Andy Reid offensive coordinators, go and take these other jobs and not succeed.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Bill Belichick disciples that, go off because it's such a great place to get, your next coach from. And then it just kind of doesn't work out because, they don't have Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes piloting the offense / the head coach, Andy Reid, helping you design / call all these plays to begin with. We're finally going to get to see Bieniemy, but he gets a Sam Howell to run his offense. He doesn't have Patrick Mahomes anymore. And he has Brian Robinson. And I think Brian Robinson is a fine running back. I don't think that Brian Robinson is a plus running back. I don't think he can erase your offensive line mistakes, and I don't think he can overcome those sort of things. I think he would be fine if he were behind the Eagles' offensive line. You put him behind Detroit's offensive line, he could succeed in those situations. I really do think that. But in Washington, I don't see it happening for him.
It's a lot of dysfunction in Washington.
Yes.
Yeah. So I just feel like he has. So a lot of times in I think the last Fantasy Effect listener league that we've had, he was going in around like 9 through 11, and I just feel like that's a solid, area for him. Like, and it's cheap. I just feel like, and so, I don't know. I would like to see it. I didn't look before, but I'd love to see the price tag on him in some trades, because I think the issue with him is some people are, in my mind, he would be cheap, but I think people don't want to give him up.
So I have some trades pulled up for him. This happened. Brian Robinson and a 24-2 for Brandon Ayuk.
Give me Ayuk. Easy.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
And then B-Rob for Rashad Penny and Michael Wilson.
Oh, Robinson.
Jeez. Yeah, I can B-Rob.
That one's cheap. Like,
dude, I don't know. I might want Penny there and Michael Wilson, but I also don't like Brian Robinson.
I cannot believe in Rashad Penny anymore.
Brian Robinson for a 2 and a 3.
Depends on where the 2 is. If it's a late 2, I think I'll. If you want to call it mid,
let's call it mid.
You just gotta make it hard, don't you?
Give me B-Rob.
What I do?
Give me the mid 2.
Okay.
That's where I got him anyway. So
another Brian Robinson and a 2 for Brandon Ayuk. That must be a popular trade.
Yeah, I guess so. I was going to give that a shot.
Yeah, I would take Ayuk every time there because I'm
here's a
I'm
fun
high
one.
on Ayuk.
Brian Robinson for Mike Evans straight up.
Wow, that's totally roster dependent. Honestly, I don't even know if it's roster dependent anymore. I'm terrified to have Mike Evans on any roster. Somebody asked me. I went into a league and said, "Hey, I'm looking for a wide receiver," and I get a DM. How do you feel about Mike Evans? And I'm like, "Pass.
Nope.
Pass. I don't want to deal with Mike Evans with Baker Mayfield, the trash can at quarterback." So how about B-Rob or Kendre Miller?
Kendre Miller.
B-Rob or Miles Sanders?
Miles Sanders.
With Sanders.
B-Rob or Pacheco?
Pacheco.
B-Rob or Connor?
James Conner.
Connor.
B-Rob or Rashad Penny?
B-Rob.
I think I went Penny there.
B-Rob or A.J. Dillon?
A.J.
Dillon, yeah. So in Fantasy Effect 1, B-Rob went 12. I just had it 12-6. And then in our second one, B-Rob went
he went 12-4 in Listener League 3. I have that one pulled up.
Yeah, 12-4. Yeah, so it's just going around 12-7 in. So I personally think so. He went around Roshan Johnson, Tank Bigsby, Samaje Perine, Isaiah Pacheco was 11-2. So
I'm sorry.
Say that one more time, Holler.
Nope. That one. Nope. His name is tough.
I'm sorry.
That was a good one. Anyway, I've bumped B-Rob down now because I realize I don't know why he was where he was. I also don't believe in anybody I had below him either, though. Is the tough part.
Yeah,
that's the running backs. They just kind of get really gross after the top 10. Honestly,
yeah. So that's kind of where I'm talking about as well. Is I think he a lot has to go his way, obviously, but I just think he has the ability. Obviously, the O-line's not the best, but he has the ability. And if he gets some passing work at all, I think he has some upside.
Sure. All right, let's move on to Jonathan Taylor. So we all know the saga going on with him. His current rankings: KeepTradeCut, he's running back 6. FantasyCalc, running back 4. He's running back 4 in my rankings and running back 5 in Ron's rankings. Ron, what do you make out of JT? You gonna try to buy, sell? You holding?
I would love to buy some JT if somebody would sell him to me cheap because of all this strife, that's going on in his
What's
life
cheap?
right now. Yeah. Let me see here. Can I add to Tony Pollard and get to him?
Sure. What do you want to add?
You can add anybody to anything to get,
you can add whoever you want.
The
The world's your oyster.
World is my oyster.
I have
these random.
I have an offer out, and the guy's thinking on it. Breece Hall and T. Higgins for Jonathan Taylor and Drake London.
Give me
T. Higgins and Breece or Drake London and JT.
That feels good. That feels even both ways. I think.
Yeah. My team is pretty solid. I think I'm I would say it's a contending team for sure. And I just feel like I think he's holding up a little bit with the Breece, with the Dalvin Cook news.
That's fair. What side is yours on that? Just out of curiosity.
I would get JT and Drake London.
Okay. I think that's the side I would take, but it's really close. I like that trade quite a bit.
I keep going back and forth. Obviously, I like Breece a little bit more than JT, but if we can get some clarity with JT, I feel like he's still going to be around, for a good amount of years left.
That one's more about Higgins versus London for me.
Yeah.
And give me the guy attached to Joe Burrow, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'll always pick the better quarterback on a bet like that. The ball is it's just always going to be better. I mean, we don't know what Desmond Ridder is. We have no idea.
He's not good.
He's not Joe Burrow. I can tell you that. That's
100% agree.
Here, real quick, Jonathan Taylor or T. Higgins, just straight up.
Jonathan Taylor.
Ooh, give me Jonathan Taylor.
JT or CD Lamb.
CD Lamb.
I'll take Lamb.
Okay. Taylor or let's call it Devontae Smith.
Ooh, that one's good. Devontae Smith.
I'll still take JT.
JT or Stephon Diggs.
JT, easy.
JT.
Jonathan Taylor or Bryce Young.
JT.
Jonathan Taylor. Yeah.
All right, last one. JT or Anthony Richardson.
Ooh.
Give me Richardson.
Oh yeah, I think I'm gonna take the hype of Richardson at this moment.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I mean,
I was gonna say I don't think his price has gone down at all. I just think people are not too worried about it. I think things will work out. I was a little bit worried with his. I saw some videos of him like walking pretty awkwardly. It would look like he had some back issues or whatever. But I think all that will get worked out.
Yeah, it's amazing what a few $1 million in your bank account will do for your back.
Yeah, I'm all of a sudden very healthy, and I decided to stretch this, before I left the house today.
All of a sudden, he's like that gif of Willy Wonka, just like fake falling down and popping up.
Yes, I love that part. Well, what about Mr. J.K. Dobbins? This is somebody I really wanted to talk about because he has finally set foot on a field again.
He did.
He's finally going to play. We know he's super talented and super effective, but this was his rookie year.
Okay, so here's the deal with J.K. Dobbins is he's had multiple injuries where he's been banged up, but he had like a really good draft profile coming out of college. He got really good draft capital. When his rookie year and during the second half of the year, he was awesome. And then even last year, when he came back and you could kind of see him just like hobble running is probably the best way to describe it. He was pretty effective.
Yep.
So, but it's like, at what point is he one more injury away from just being like dead, right? Like just no more.
You've written off Jamo, and this guy's pretty much on the field about as much as Jamo is.
That's not well. All right.
Pretty darn close.
I'll give you that for now, but.
Yeah, I would say one, like he needs to, if he misses a couple games, I think I wouldn't write him off. But if he misses any significant amount of time this year, I think I think he's just going to be injury ridden. Like he's always going to have injuries. So I just think for him, it's tough if he has another injury. But I feel like there's some progress and some, he's starting to put some practices together, getting back on the field. So I think, I like where you guys have him at.
Contract.
I saw that,
which seems to be odd given his
The running
state
back market.
Yeah, the running back market,
Well,
how much you've been on the field, what have you
that's what I
done
was
for me
gonna say.
lately, kind of thing. Like you can't be a squeaky wheel if you haven't done anything,
Yep.
in my opinion.
100%.
So that stuff's kind of odd, and like John Harbaugh's like the whole time, like I don't know, he might be here soon, he might not be here soon. I know it's all coach speak because you don't really want to give away what you actually think, but man, what's going on with J.K. Dobbins? What do we got going on here?
Dobbins, so he's in a position where like if you have him, he's probably your RB2, maybe your RB3, and like. And to Wes's point in the chat, like if you have to rely on him as your RB2, like you're probably not feeling great about that team, right?
Nope.
Yep.
But that's where he's ranked, right? He's kind of in that, 18, 17, 19, 20, 15 range. Like he's 15 to 20 would have been a better way to say that. But dude, I don't know. Like I can't fully buy in just because he doesn't stay on the field.
Right. It's very hard. And I had gotten a bunch because of the injury. Because what do we do when somebody gets hurt and you have a bad team? You go trade for that injured player because he's not scoring any points, but we know he's a good player when he's on the field. Now I slightly regret it, but that's neither here nor there. I mean, I'm sitting here at 23% J.K. Dobbins on my rosters. I got some Dobbins shares out there, and I'm waiting for him to do something. Because I bought into the talent because he is explosive. He plays for the Ravens, which I think is a solid, organization to play for. They always run the football because John Harbaugh is there. You have Lamar Jackson, so you have a quarterback, to take some pressure off of you, this, that, the other. But man, get on the field.
So on FantasyCalc, here's some guys that are going like right around him. Would you rather have J.K. Dobbins or Chris Godwin?
Godwin.
Dobbins or Pittman?
Dobbins.
Ooh. Give me Pittman.
Dobbins or Treylon Burks?
Dobbins.
Dobbins or Deontay Johnson?
Deontay Johnson.
Ron, did you answer?
Yeah, Dobbins still.
My bad. I totally missed it.
Oh, you're fine.
And then Dobbins or Goddard?
Goddard.
Oh, Goddard. Is it 2 PPR?
Sure. Let's say it is.
Give me Goddard.
There you go. Yeah, I would take all those guys over JK. I think I feel safer. I mean, Pittman's probably the one that gives me the most pause just because I don't know what Anthony Richardson is going to be as a passer.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't trust J.K. Dobbins. Like I can't feel good about him being on my roster as anything more than like maybe he's a flex play if I have a deep team.
Sure. That makes.
I'm with you guys. I was gonna say, point out what Wes said. He would love him as an RB3, and that's kind of where I'm at too. I mean, I think I was trying to see how many shares I have of him, which I don't think I have that many. And so I just think, I think he's on some teams that are middling. So I have 2 shares of him. So I'll have to look at that and see. And I think right now he is kind of like a hold. And if he plays well in the first couple of games, I think I'm going to sell him because I just worry about those injuries.
Sure.
Fair.
Sure. That makes sense. Let's move on to the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Jahmyr Gibbs.
Already a legend. I love it.
Yeah. He's got that awesome Detroit Lions offensive line in front of him, and Jared Goff, who can't scramble out of a pocket to save his life to check down to him all day, every day.
You're assuming he's on the field enough to be.
He will be on the field. Oh. Listen, he's an offensive weapon. They don't even look at him as a running back. Come on, McSpank. You know that Gibbs is going to be on the field. You're kidding me if you think that Monty's out snapping Jahmyr Gibbs.
So here's my he might actually. I think Gibbs might be getting more like value touches, but I think Monty might. There's a decent chance he outsnaps him.
Yep.
So here's my problem with Jahmyr Gibbs, right? He's running back 3 on KeepTradeCut, running back 2 on FantasyCalc. Like, he's already at the top, and he hasn't even played a down of football. Like, I think his value can only go down because it seems like the expectations are sky high for this kid.
Mm-hmm.
If he does anything other than just like come out of the gates just swinging, like people are going to be like, "Oh, what the hell? Like I got sold a lemon here." So
you haven't been. He's
I
been
feel
swinging all training camp. I'll tell you that.
I feel like you are already at peak value on Jahmyr Gibbs. Like I don't foresee it ever going up, and it's just if you have him on your roster, do you try to move off of him for something else, or do you just hold on to it and just because you like him, or because you hope he's going to be like an actual RB1?
I'm going to hold him because I think he is superstar potential, but that's, the Lions fan in me and all that deal. But really, I mean, he has one of the best offensive lines in front of him, and he's went into a top 5 offense. He's been gashing people since college, since Georgia Tech. He's been running between the tackles. You know what I mean? Like, if you can run at Georgia Tech, I think you can, survive out here in the NFL. And he's, from everything I've heard, he is as advertised. They're using him as the offensive weapon. They think he is. They want to use him in multiple roles. And then, like you said, Jamo not being on the field only helps Jahmyr Gibbs get more usage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I think I would hold, but I will look at my rosters and see what I can get for him because but I kind of agree with you, Spanky, that he's as high as he's going to be, unless he comes out of the gate and just guns blazing. It's going to be tough for him to go up in value at all, right? And so I think if you want to get or recoup, I mean, I wouldn't say recoup because your team wasn't that good, and so you had, unless you traded up to get him, but he's going like between 4 and 6 in a rookie draft. But I just think I'm with Jay for sure because I think he's not going to be. I think he ends up like maybe RB5, not necessarily RB2, or I don't see him being a top 3 running back.
I don't even think he's going to be. I hope this doesn't come across hot takey. I don't even think he's going to be a running back 1 this year.
Oh my Lord, Mike Spanky.
I think he's probably a high end RB2, but I think that is propping him up along with his age as being the running back 2 in Dynasty, just because there's not a ton of like. I mean, look at the top of the running back market right now. You got Bijan, and then you got Christian McCaffrey, who's 27. You got Breece Hall, who's coming off an injury. I mean, Saquon Barkley is a little bit older. Like, it's just the top of the running backs is a little. It's almost like Gibbs is there by default.
Yeah, right for the taking. That's what I see.
Rather than he's.
Well, then Bijan's there by default as well.
Yeah, but
he's never taken a snap. How is he different? He's never taken a snap on an NFL field.
Well, he's not sharing a backfield with David Montgomery, and he's
sharing a backfield with Tyler Algier.
Yeah, well, okay. A little bit different. He was like a 5th-round rookie, which they don't have staying power in the NFL. So he got replaced. If we really like Tyler Algier, why did they take Bijan Robinson at pick 8? And Arthur Smith loves the pound the rock. We've seen what he's done with Derrick Henry. I think this is his new Derrick Henry. It's different. Jahmyr Gibbs is smaller too, and he's not going to get as big of a workload.
We'll see. I mean, I agree. Bijan should be ahead of him, but he also hasn't stepped on into an NFL field. We can't, blah blah blah. If we're going to say it for one guy, we have to say it for the other.
No, that's fair.
Yeah, I get it.
But everybody, Breece is now sharing with Dalvin. Etienne's going to be sharing with our boy Tank Bigsby. Jonathan Taylor is going to share with Anthony Richardson if he ever steps on the field. CMC, he never shares with anybody unless Debo comes into the backfield. Saquon's probably his own deal. Maybe a little Daniel Jones in here. But yeah, then it's Kenneth Walker, Austin Eckler, Nick Chubb, Josh Jacobs.
Which all of them have some question marks, right? I mean, Josh Jacobs isn't even on the team right
right,
now.
Right.
So I don't know. Yeah, I think he's up there just because he's a rookie and he's getting hype, and it's like, well, if you don't want an older back and like, Chubb or
I mean, they were a top 5 offense last year. The offensive lines returned. I mean,
I understand that, but I mean, he's not the one getting the goal line carries. Montgomery is. So
how do you know that?
Yes.
Dan Campbell called you and told you?
He did, dude. You didn't know that?
If Dan Campbell called you and you didn't tell me and get me on the phone call, unfriended, McSpanky. Unfriended.
All right, you called my bluff.
Right, I just feel real quick. Last thing I was going to say is I just feel that, David Montgomery is going to step into the Jamal Williams role. So I think he's going to get those goal line touches.
He's better than Jamal Williams.
Yes.
Yes.
I agree.
We'll see what happens, though. Maybe Gibbs will just be more efficient.
All right,
anyway, Tank Dell, what the hell? What are we doing with Tank Dell? The dude he's like the ultimate wide receiver now?
Are you saying that because he caught a touchdown that he should have caught the first time and dropped it and then recaught it in the preseason game?
That's exactly what I'm talking about. And everybody is just Twitter's ablaze about Tank Dell and everything he does in every practice. He caught 3 touchdowns today in practice.
That's
great
against the Texans defense, not a real defense. So I don't know. I didn't like Tank Dell coming out of college in the draft process. I don't like the landing spot as much as I do like CJ Stroud, but it's not going to be year one. Tank Dell, like I don't know. Like he's just not. It's not a good It's not an offense that I want him to be on. Like he needed to go to like the Bills or like a high-powered offense for him to have value. He's on a low passing volume, a low scoring output, and that kind of goes for all the receivers there. Like, there's not a ton of upside for any of them.
That's what I was going to say. Is I don't want any of the receivers. If I do, I would give me the tight end Dalton Schultz. I just think he's going to be the only one that you can put in your lineup and feel confident about it. And even sometimes you won't feel confident about that. And so I just think. I think it's just all hype. Even if you go out and try to sell Tank Dell, someone's gonna, I don't think you're gonna get. If you do get something, might as well sell him. I think right now he's as high as he can be with all the hype.
Agreed. Should we get out of here, Ron?
Yeah, let's get on out of here. I was just catching up.
No, you're good. What a way to end it with Tank Dell. Right.
Wow.
Yeah, Tank Dell. What the hell?
Save the best for last.
Yeah. I will take Tank Dell because if anything does happen for Tank Dell, he's the only one whose hype could propel him to a higher value out of that receiving core, in my opinion.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, I like that.
I like it. All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in and listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.
See you.
Peace.